What exactly did you hear?
They had real deep voices, and they were from out of nowhere.
You know, it's always disturbing to hear a kid going through something like this. Who was it?
That is Andy Beard. He was talking to Hans in 1968. He and his family were experiencing some pretty extreme poltergeist activity at their home in Tyler, Texas.
My father said this was one of the most intense hauntings he had ever experienced, and it went way beyond poltergeist activity.
Yeah, it wasn't just objects moving around. At night, swarms of bugs would come into their room while they slept. That wasn't all. Right in front of their eyes, these letters would appear out of thin air. Have a look at this letter written to Hans by Andy's sister Amy in 1973.
My brother Andy is now 20 years old and is convinced that he is possessed by the devil. More recently, he has been unable to control his thoughts or concentrate on anything, and he insists that the devil talks to him constantly. This is eerily similar to a woman in Missouri that's been reaching out to me recently. We need to go back to Tyler, Texas to re-examine this case. This is far more than just poltergeist activity. And if there was something attached to Andy, it might still be there, waiting to attach to someone new.
The hauntings, the poltergeist experiences that have besieged this farmhouse for several months, not so long ago, have ceased temporarily at least. Temporarily, for one never knows whether they will return in the dead of night or whether they will leave the living alone to their devices.
When Hans Holzer left Tyler, Texas in 1969, he had advised the family to move to another home. And from what they told him, the haunting stopped. But by the time Amy reached out to him 10 years later, it was too late. Andy wouldn't see Hans. He was too far gone and wouldn't take Hans's help. Whatever this thing was, this darkness that latched onto Amy's brother Andy all those years ago, the damage it did, it's still felt to this day. The question now, though, is simple. Is this thing still here inside this house? Hopefully, our psychic medium, Cindy, and Shane, our tech, can lead us to the answers. Let's go. Without knowing anything about Hans's case file here, Cindy wants to do a psychometry reading on the house itself. She'll channel spiritual energy simply by touching something. All right, I'm going to begin our EVP recorder while you tap in, Cindy. And here's Hans's files in case you can get anything from those.
Yeah. Well, I definitely see gunshot, and blood. It feels like there's a man. I'm seeing this man walking around, but I don't even know if he was actually himself. He's so out of his body, I think he might have been overtaken by a spirit. And he wants the voices to stop. Oh, I'm getting the chills.
What do you see?
He killed himself. He just wanted it to end. I want to get out of here.
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's rare that Cindy cuts a reading short. Knowing the tragedy that occurred here, I could only imagine how horrific her visions must be. You know, what happened to Andy and his family here was absolutely terrifying. But unfortunately, that story is done. But there is something we can do. There are striking similarities between what happened to Andy and this woman named Lydia in Missouri. I think if we take what we've learned from Hans, maybe we can make a difference in that family's life.
Yeah, we need to.
What is it that's going on to you and your family right now?
There's everything. 2 weeks ago, probably, that cabinet door flew off and it almost hit me in the head.
Something physically tore that door off that shelf and threw it at you.
Yeah, it was thrown.
So, poltergeist activity.
Right.
You had told me you're seeing these things happen on a regular basis. How often is regular?
Pretty much daily.
What was the starting point?
Thinking back, there was stuff that I couldn't explain as a kid, but it's gotten worse the last 2 years.
Okay.
I went to bed one night, and the next morning I woke up with bruises, scratches.
Wow. This sounds a lot like this pretty horrific case we were just investigating. What can we do to help?
Just try and help me figure out what it is and how to get rid of it.
Lydia's gone for the night. We have the run of the house. The big question now is this thing attached to the house? Or, like in the case of Andy Baird, is it attached to Lydia?
It feels different than in Texas.
Thermal camera is running.
Is there anything here with us in this room that would like to communicate?
Guys,
What?
footsteps. Oh,
Who is it that's in the hallway right now? Are you trying to intimidate this family? What's the matter, Shane?
I'm hearing it from both sides.
Yeah, why don't you go put the millimeter down in the hall where the footsteps are, and then that way if something is down there, maybe it'll alert.
This is just setting, that's my hand.
Okay, so now if anything comes near it, it'll sound off.
Are you a spirit attached with this family?
Look at that.
Is the EMF spiking on it?
That means something is right up against the antenna.
Have you been with Lydia throughout her life? I want to know, is something attached to Lydia? Okay, you're getting our attention. Whoa, did you just see the drastic change?
yeah, it
Wow,
got
that was
cold.
like a
It got
crazy
cold.
change. Is the thing attached to Lydia a human spirit? Is it a dark force? Dude, this is crazy. I mean, that's
It
insane
is.
interaction.
I feel like the source of the activity in this house is from Lydia.
I think what we need to do next is come back here with her and see what happens when she's in the house.
Yeah, I agree.
This is no ordinary case. When a house is haunted, we investigate the home. But when a person is the target of a haunting, we need to investigate the person. I'm bringing Lydia into the investigation tonight with Shane and Cindy. And we're gonna see just how serious this dark attachment is. All right, we've set up a couple of different items around here in your living room. And each one of these pieces of equipment, it's something that's gonna help us measure different levels of energy, different things that might be happening.
If there's any fluctuations in the EMF, we're going to be able to pick it up, or temperature.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna do, Lydia, is I'm gonna just observe what's going on in your energetic field. So I'm gonna be writing down what I'm sensing, colors I'm seeing, shifts I'm seeing in your aura.
Okay.
Okay?
Lydia, I want you to spend some time being open with me here right now, because there's a big part of this puzzle that we haven't been able to completely put together yet. And I think the key still is inside of you. What type of activity has happened to you?
There's been bruising, scratches, hearing voices.
Are you seeing this? The temperature dropped to 66.6. 666.
I feel like my throat feels hot.
Do you feel like something's touching your throat?
Correct. Feels like from the outside in.
That's your throat chakra. If your throat starts to burn, you have to ask yourself, what am I not speaking up about? Why am I not speaking my truth? Because the more you keep this stuff trapped inside of you, the more difficult it becomes.
So you're holding something back. How does that make you feel, Lydia? How does it make you feel thinking about the threat that this thing keeps posing to you?
Anxious, like I'm losing my mind, like I don't know what's really going on.
That's it. That's a huge jump. Did you just see that jumped up to 27? Every time you begin to speak up, it's not happy. Those moments when you're at your weakest, when these things are getting to you, how do you feel?
I just feel hopeless.
Okay. I know it feels like you have something externally, a demon or something else controlling your life. And I'm not saying this lightly. I'm worried for your safety. We got to get it out of you somehow.
Okay.
We have to learn how to push it out and release it. Let's try this experiment. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stand over here with Dave, okay? Right? You're gonna yell at us.
I want you to stand up for me. All right? This is something that is taking away your control. So right now, I want you to just start focusing on that anger that you keep holding back. Keep thinking about it, and then you're just gonna keep pushing it out at me. Do you understand that? Just let it fester. Let it boil over. I want you to feel it slowly climbing up. And I don't want you to hold back, Lydia.
I don't understand why they chose me to pick on, or why I had to be the one that had to get hurt.
Tell me how you feel. This is the chance you get.
I don't know how to get it out. Like, I don't. I'm trying and I just don't know how.
Keep going. Push. Get it out.
I want it gone.
That was really intense. I feel like I've been through a war since reopening this case. And last night was hard on all of us. But we're taking the steps here in Missouri that Hans Holzer couldn't take with Andy in Texas. Hopefully it was worth it, and we were able to actually capture the evidence to prove one way or another what's going on, so we can help Lydia and her family.
We captured some really strange EVPs. I want you guys to check it out and let me know what you think.
Okay.
And I don't know how to get it out. Like, I don't. I'm trying and I just don't know how.
And that's to the people. Can you play that one more time?
I don't. I'm trying and I just don't know how.
And that's to the people.
Sounds to me like a growl almost.
Right, there's like a roar, like a rush sound to that. Play that one more time, please. Guys, that's a growl.
We've got one more I want to show you.
All right. I want you to feel it slowly climbing up. And I don't want you to hold back, Lydia.
That's weird.
Something's... This sounds...
It sounds dark.
That's classic demonic activity. And I don't want you to hold back, Lydia. I don't like throwing out the demon word any more than you guys do. We've got to tread very carefully on this. We've come a long way since the start of our investigation back in Tyler, Texas, where Hans Holzer first encountered Andy Barrett's demons over 50 years ago.
I talked to him.
What exactly did you hear?
His story came to a horrific and tragic end. So tonight, when we meet with Lydia, we have a big responsibility. We can't afford to get anything wrong.
That was a very rare, very extreme investigation. And it was hard all the way around. Thank you for sticking through it with us. We were able to capture some evidence during the investigation that kind of corroborates what our theory was going in that night with you. This is a piece of electronic voice phenomena.
I'm trying and I just don't know how.
And that's to the people.
There's like a growl.
And then we had an immediate ping from our piece of equipment.
And that wasn't the only one.
Like you can feel it forming. This hard, solid.
And this is the last one we caught.
And I want you to feel it slowly climbing up. And I don't want you to hold back, Lydia. Did you hear that? In each one of these moments of heightened tension, something is making its presence known.
Like I just want it gone and out and away.
Something is manifesting.
I'm terrified because I don't know what it can do. Or like how far it's gonna take it. It's just something that's super evil.
And this brings us to our last piece of evidence.
It's video. This is when you're starting to confront this. The millimeter in front of you is going crazy.
When our surveillance camera does this.
It bleeps out.
Whatever's happening in that room,
It's actually glitching and affecting our cameras.
but check this out.
This is the exact same moment from a different camera perspective. We had 7 cameras rolling throughout your entire home. And the 2 that were focused on this experiment are the only ones that glitched.
Lydia, listen carefully, okay?
Okay.
You're super intuitive, and I believe you have mediumistic abilities. I think you're like me. So what's happening, we believe, is that the combination of your natural intuition with all of the other stuff, it's created this force.
Okay.
It's powerful. So there is something metaphysical going on, but it's not demonic.
You're projecting this activity. Your fears are manifesting around you, appearing as an external presence.
This is you.
Okay.
And it's that constant fear you carry.
That's what starts to open you up to the demonic.
It's like walking around with an open wound 24/7.
In the situation you're in, unchecked, this could go very bad. But we're not going to let it go that way.
Okay.
We've got an expert that we brought with, someone who's adept at dealing with these type of issues. He can help you start the healing process. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, definitely.
You have to know in your heart and in your soul and in your mind, I can control this. This is not controlling me. You have to protect yourself because otherwise we're creating a cycle of fear again and again and again.
Yeah.
Promise?
I promise my kids are my world, and if anything happens to them, I honestly don't know what I would do.
If you ever need us, we're just a phone call away.